Welcome everybody to the Clean Finish Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host Nathan Sridharan, and the WWE is really testing the purpose of this podcast in that it's supposed to be very positive and highlight the positivity and the good things happening in WWE. It's really, really difficult to do that when 2 out of 3 of the Power of Positivity group are no longer with WWE. It's been a very, very hectic few days with WWE. We had the releases last week and this continuation of something going on. I don't know what's going on. We will look at it, discuss all the different things. I'm going to try and keep a smile on my face and be positive about this, but you are making this hard. So without further ado, let's talk about it. This week we're going to look at most recent Smackdown and Monday Night Raw, as we are a week or so away, 6 days when I'm recording this, to Backlash and everything building up to that Backlash event coming up. I'm going to go into the releases and the news that's come out about the New Day. I'll get to that. I'll save that for my ranty section, which I'd like to keep usually around 5 minutes. You know, a lot of people have a lot of anger and ranty bits throughout their podcast. I'm trying my hardest to sustain positive, so I'll save that bit for the end, and I make a reference to it. But anyway, let's get into SmackDown. We'll kind of power through. It's not starting on a positive note with SmackDown, to be honest with you. The show I didn't feel was very good overall. It started off with Cody kind of coming out. That was great. You know, I'm a big Cody fan. I've mentioned many times. He's my champ. I think very highly of him and what he does. He gives it his 100% there. He's there all the time. Like, it's all good in my books. Opens the show, announces he's cleared for action, which is amazing, and is quite quickly interrupted by Ricky Saints, who's debuting that night. Which I think is great. It's they have history there from AEW. They're, real life, they're friends. It's so great I love when they do that. They kind of push someone in straight away to like a title picture. Like they've done it with Ethan Page with the IC title to a degree. And then now with Saints, like that's brilliant. And I think Ricky Saints will really prosper in this role. So that's, they had a look back and forth, and that's going to lead to a match later that night, which, I just think what a boost for Ricky Saints. Following that, we move on to the first match of the night, Jacy Jayne versus Charlotte. Now, Jacy Jayne made a hell of an impact. Like for the things going on in WWE and all the booking, everything, the women are being booked really well. I think the women are really, they should be in better positions considering the consistency and the action they're putting in at the minute. And Jacy Jayne, she's doing phenomenal work already. So her and Charlotte had a match. They, once again, Jacy Jayne is being highlighted as someone to watch. You can see that she's the future in that division. And then she, the match was great. She's got great chemistry. Charlotte really did some good work with her. And she got a huge win over Charlotte. Like, Charlotte is 14-time champ or whatever it is. She's a legacy. She's a future Hall of Famer. And Jacy Jayne got the pin over her. Like, that's huge. That's a big thing. So that, the match itself was really good. Jacy Jayne comes out looking like £1 million. Shortly after that, Rhea comes out because there's the inevitable beatdown on Charlotte and Alexa. Rhea comes out to make the save, and you kind of got a little before the match, some little, that this is where the continuity is great between the wrestlers, and that Charlotte and Rhea have this heated relationship professionally and supposedly personally. And like Charlotte didn't really want Rhea's help, and then Rhea came out anyway. But they kind of that mutual respect, your enemy of my enemy is my friend sort of thing. And they were to kind of work together to overcome Jacy Jayne and her team. Fatal influence. My brain's not working. And it was again really good. Probably a match at Backlash, I imagine. But it's nice to have all 6 of those women kind of involved, because it would be good. I do like Charlotte and Alexa as a tag team, but individually, they're great kind of solo acts. So I wouldn't be devastated if they kind of did their own thing. Following that match, we had Priest and Truth versus Fraxium. This time, Damian Priest puts his foot in the match and books himself a tag team match. And the match was fine. it's tricky with the tag team, and I'll come on to it on my TKO kind of wrestlers being released rant later on, but there's just not enough kind of push in the tag team division. Like Priest and Truth work great, but there's so much younger tag team talent that there's more established tag team talent, but better yet than the age thing. Why is that not being established more? Like Fraxium are incredible. We know they're great. They could run the tag team division. It's good to see the exposure, obviously, but it felt like with this, the bigger story was around Solo and Tala kind of getting involved in that kind of tag team scene as well. It's very quickly transitioned into them going to the MFT. Like the match was an afterthought, which for me, for a tag team, for any title, was never a good look. Anyway, Solo kind of comes out. He blames Jacob for taking out the other MFTs, which again we'll come to in a minute because we know they've since been released. TKO probably did that, or whoever it was. It's just, and then after that, Usos kind of come out and they get involved with that. It's just that again, and again, I've shared it many times that the bloodline thing repeating again. It's like now we're getting from different divisions, from different rosters coming over and having this back and forth with the bloodline stuff, and it's like, okay, like how long can we milk this for? Why are we back here again when there's, like, I appreciate Solo has no one to beef with now that the Wyatts have gone, but there's so many other people. Like I don't know, it's just very, they just kind of go into the well again and again and again. Just think, oh, we need something new here. So after that match, we got Cody versus Saints. Interesting placement. I always find Cody. I don't know what it is. He rarely seems to be that main event bit. I don't know why they book him that way. They should. Maybe because he's not got a lot going on. And we'll get to that anyway. I'm jumping ahead. But Cody versus Saints, again, great match. And the different reaction I had noticed for Saints when he first came out to later, people seem to vibe him a bit more after his promo initially. A good solid match. They've got good chemistry. I've seen them compete in AEW and they work really well. So I think the match worked really well, and it made Ricky Saints look good. He can come back and say he went toe to toe with the champ. This is where it gets a bit confusing. So Cody wins, obviously. For some reason, it's not Randy Orton that comes out to attack him. It's Gunter. It doesn't. It's not that these two won't put on a great show. They absolutely will. They're two of the best, but it doesn't quite make sense. And I hope, my concern is they're going to forget about the whole favor. Heyman owes Gunter, or maybe this is the favor. I don't know. I don't know what Paul Heyman has. What Paul Heyman has on this side of things. It just, yeah, it will be good, but it doesn't quite make sense. And again, I feel like that's where we're at the minute. Just kind of putting stuff in wherever, just to kind of make some sort of something. Yeah, so Gunter had the beat down. It should be Orton. I don't know why it's not Orton, but yeah, here we are. Again, I'm looking at at least a good feud, kind of between the two. The match itself, the wrestling will be fantastic. So it's something there. Earlier in the night, we had a Danhausen Miz kind of skit thing, which again, kind of, it felt a bit flat for me. I don't know if it's too much Danhausen. Like, I think he's brilliant. I don't know if it's because he's doing so well, they're just kind of oversaturating, which is never the best thing to do. But they addressed their issues in the ring. Miz came out, and then essentially Kit and Danhausen were like competing for who gets to be the mentee of the Miz. Is it going to be Mizhausen, or is it going to be with Kit and Miz? We don't know. Miz seemingly chooses Danhausen, then instantly turns on him because Miz is far better as a heel than a face. And yeah, and then that's leading to a match of Backlash with Danhausen versus Kit and Miz, with Danhausen having a surprise guest. So it could be anyone at this point. Like, I don't know. There's no point even like trying to fantasy book it. It could be literally anyone. It could be no one. It could be something insane. I like Danhausen is working so well, but I just think they need to be careful with how much they're utilizing him and how silly they're going to make him. Because I think, like, if verges on the Truth stuff, like Truth he's a bit too kiddie, which I know is what they always need. They always need to hit every demographic, but I don't know. I find there can be a balance, and if there's not enough comedy acts for older audiences, you kind of it loses its kind of flair after a while. And I know how quickly fans can change on people. So yeah, I hope they're a bit more careful with him. But after that, so we had that skip bit. After that match, it was Royce Keys versus Angel Garza. This is always going to be your standard squash match. Keys, it was a really, again, it's a showcasing for Keys. You know, they do this quite a lot. I feel like they're kind of weirdly doing it with Oba with his open invitation thing, but it's showcasing these people as monsters and dominant beasts and all this stuff. And like Keys got some great offense, and he's like it was like a rolling flip like slam off the top rope. But like it was really cool. It was a great for him, and it's doing the right things. It's just, you know, he needs to move on to the next thing. And he did have a thing with Jacob and Solo and stuff. There's stuff there, so I think that will come quite quickly. Which, yeah, I think will be brilliant. Him versus Tyler, him versus Solo. I think that'd be some good stuff. I do like how it's May now. So was it 2 or 3 weeks out of Mania? Three or four, however long we are outside of Mania, and they're still keeping his Battle Royal on Giant Monica thing, which I thought was quite. I'm always curious as to see how long they kind of drag that on for. But yeah, I thought that was quite funny. And as I said, yeah, Tyler and Solo after the match, like Jacob and him had a good thing. And then Tyler and Solo took him out. I think that'll be really good for Keys. You know, that's a nice kind of mid level to really showcase himself. After that, we had a promo from Sammy. Again, this was. See, I'm on Sammy's side. I don't understand why people have turned on him. I don't get it. But it did get. I don't know how I feel about this whole promo thing. You know, to the gingerbread man, a costume of gingerbread man is rolled out and left in the ring. Sammy cuts a promo on everyone and the gingerbread man and all this other stuff. And it felt. And then Sammy flips out and starts beating up this thing. Like Sammy has been in silly things before, like with the jackass people and all this stuff. Like he can make it work. But yeah, just I don't know. I don't know about this. It's interesting how this is going to kind of roll out. It feels like the heel turn fully happened though, because when Trick came out, even Joe Tessitore was kind of going off and saying like he was leaning into Sammy being a heel, which like is quite that speaks volumes for me. So it feels like that heel babyface turn has kind of happened. It's just this whole gingerbread man thing. It's just, and they're like, again, like I said with Danhausen and Truth, it feels a bit kiddie. Like they're doing like a memoriam thing, and it's just like this just feels very old. Like I don't know, late 2019, like cheap Attitude Era stuff. It just feels very Vince kind of booking, and I don't know. It could be fine, but it doesn't feel quite right, particularly on Trick's level. It doesn't. I don't know if it quite matches up to his persona at the minute, but I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. Next match was Paige and Brie versus Lash and Nia. Again, there's not a lot to say about this. It feels like the tag. I've always thought this with the women's tag division. It builds momentum and then it kind of falls flat. Like the match was good, but there's nothing stood out. You know, Paige and Brie got the win in the end, but there's not a lot that stood out. It just feels like a place to fit the women in, and not even similarly to the men's. If I'm honest, it fits them in the tag. It just doesn't seem like the tag division in any capacity is getting any love, and it's a perfect showcase to present everyone. We can present multiple people. At the very least, 4 people are getting highlighted, but you're not allowing time. You're not allowing stories. You're not allowing anything to develop. It's similarly, like, you know, Bailey's just jumping. Bailey and Ira, 2 incredible individual talents that could be champions, but they're just kind of bouncing to the tag division. It's just they need to add more flavor to it, really. So the final match of the night was the Usos versus the remaining MFTs, Solo and Tala. I guess Tamatonga's around somewhere. I'm not sure. Again, match was not anything to shout about, but they, you know, the 4, particularly the brothers, all know each other quite well. So the match itself was quite smooth. The real story being Jacob Fatu coming out after being attacked, takes out Solo, takes out Tala, and then like just, you know, balls through the Usos, kind of adding to that storyline. Again, it's fine. It's just I don't know if it's quite doing what it's supposed to. I don't want to see the Usos in this spot anymore. Yeah, it's again, this is not the most not the most positive review, probably the least positive review I've done, but it's really difficult to find it in this week's SmackDown. I felt like I was just kind of going through the motions. It felt like that's what they were doing. There's not a lot of substance in SmackDown at the minute, and the areas there is, it's kind of seeming a bit like a bit of a joke. Like the stuff with Trick could be a bit more serious, and it's not. Um, Cody and Gunter, obviously that's starting up, but it doesn't. I'm interested to see what the rationale is behind Gunter outside of just the championship, but um, yeah, we'll see. But overall, SmackDown was it is what it is what it is with SmackDown at the minute. I just really hope they get something cooking a bit more because there's just not a whole lot going on there. So Monday Night Raw starts pretty hot straight away. We've got Roman Reigns coming out wanting to, sign the contract with Jacob, get it done and dusted. Adam Pearce stops him, saying Jacob's not here yet. That's fans a bit disappointed that it's not kicking off the night. But then we get a nice, lovely little moment between Seth and Roman, which I absolutely love. That these two are this kind of like Batman and Joker type thing, which they played on before. They're enemies destined to hate each other, but there's love there because they're brothers and all this stuff. And they have this, 20-second, if that, moment where Seth telling Roman he's in his way. Then like I don't know, it was just so lovely to see. It's like that story is built over so many years, and that to me is what's missing in a lot of WWE right now is that connection, that real heat between two people that they can come and go to it. They can come back, they can leave it. Like that's the thing that's really been missing. So it's nice to see that they've kind of still got that there. Seth comes out obviously to kind of do some sort of promo, but before he can make it to the ring, he's taken out by Braun. Braun really gets him, beats the crap out of him. Like again, beautiful. It's adding more to that story that they can't even go out to do a promo without one of them attacking the other. Like that's really really nice stuff, kind of building there. First match of the night, Finn Balor vs JD. They allude to the fact that we thought this was kind of over. Like Joe mentioned it, saying we thought it was all done. Not Joe, sorry, Michael Cole mentioned it. We thought it was all done, but it's still going on. It's great to see them carrying it on because it felt like the term was the beginning, and they still got a little bit more to get out of this, and particularly with the stuff with Roxanne at the minute. Liv questioned why Roxanne let Finn in and why she didn't tell straight away, and all. You can see the deception and the dissension, sorry, and the being woven into the story, which is really good. Again, JD and Finn, they're buddies. They know each other so well. They always put on a great match. Finn took a flipping brutal Spanish fly to that, like looked like an animal's head, like absolutely brutal. His back was all messed up. But some nice stuff with Dom getting involved. I want to see more of Dom. I feel like I don't see a lot of Dom at the minute. He got involved and got caught, got sent to the back. And then near the ending of the match, as Finn's getting momentum, we've got this cool kind of they got this distraction hammer spot where Liv had the bell hammer for the ring bell, slipped it to Roxanne. Roxanne didn't seem to hesitate. She just went in, took out Finn, proved her loyalty to JD, to the Judgment Day, sorry, and that was it. And JD got the big win, which I thought was great. Like I like that it's a potential slow rift. Like she surely proved herself. Like there was no doubt. Like I wonder how Finn's going to come back to this now. So I quite like what's happening with this Judgment Day stuff. Maybe it'll be like Raquel who turns accidentally, not accidentally, intentionally, which I think would be great because she is. Yeah, I've always, again, big Raquel fan since NXT. So I would love if she turned. And I think the better story is her turning on Liv, not necessarily to help Finn, but just to you know turn on Liv for feeling like second place and all this stuff. I think that'd be really good. We got a nice little backstage thing with Bron Breakker, Austin Theory, and Logan Paul. The reason I mentioned this is it made me laugh because yes, they're three like big tough guys, blah blah blah, but they're all still young enough to be immature and silly. And like Michael Cole even said, "Oh, it's like a frat house," and they're just dicking about in the backstage. And it felt more genuine. It didn't feel like just three guys who come out and beat people up. It felt like three idiots or three mates who can still and bullies who take the piss and muck around, but then also kind of take care of business. It was quite nice to kind of have that. Like Bron Breakker kept making like these faces and stuff. I think he's so good. He's so good at what he does. It's just it's just perfect. Next match of the night was Penta and Javon versus Rusev and Page. Again, loving this stuff because it's all building around the IC title. Everybody loves the IC title. When it's done well, the IC title is such a great position to a title, and position to be in because it usually brings out like wrestlers and in good matches. The match was fantastically paced between all four. I think they all four worked really well together. Javon was the MVP of the match. He got so much time to shine. Like he had, as soon as he was in the ring, the fans were on their feet the whole time. It was a really good crowd actually as well. And yeah, he had hands. The fans were on their feet the whole time. You know, they teased this kind of like big jump table spot. Everyone was like losing their mind over it. But yeah, it was really a showcase for Javon more than anyone. And surprisingly, then at the end, Ethan Page steals the win against Penta, which, you know, pinning the IC champ on your second or third night in the on the main roster, huge, absolutely huge. And him and Rusev have a thing. Like I'm hoping it's leading to a fatal four way of some kind, but yeah, all four of them I think are doing great work at the minute. They've all got a part to play. Javon in particular is, yeah, he's people are already buying into him and seeing what a star he is because he is. Next up, we get the highly anticipated Sol Ruka signing. So she's signing with signing with Raw. Sorry, she looks so great, and like bless her, she looked properly like just over the moon to be there. Like you could see, it felt so genuine for her, considering she's been wrestling 4 years. I think she's going to absolutely change the division. Um, what followed, which I wasn't expecting, was Becky Lynch of all people interrupting and trying to hijack the moment. You know, she's saying it's all about her. This time should be for her, not anyone else. Sol Ruka immediately calling her out, which again, just the way they're playing the women, it's just they're cementing they're kind of cementing their stance. They're going. JC Jane did it with Charlotte, or when she even debuted with Fatal Influence. Sol Ruka's doing it. She did it with Liv, and now with Becky. Like this is huge. So for Becky to be her first opponent, and for Sol to kind of go for the IC title, that transition from Becky to Sol as IC champ. Oh my god! Like and the matches Sol Ruka would put on, Sol Ruka versus Lyra would be, you know, something incredible. EO, Oscar, even like there's so much opportunity for her to put on different types of matches. Um, and the whole kind of segment ended. So Becky Lynch is getting her face. Sol Ruka's calling her back. Becky tries to punch Sol and accidentally hits Adam Pearce in the face, and then takes a beautiful soul snatcher afterwards. Like so, the soul she kind of fumbled the soul snatcher a little bit, but she recovered it like so smooth. Like it was amazing. Yeah, that's that whole thing. I think it's such a good first insight into Soul. Like her first feud is going to be amazing if it's with Becky. Continuing from last week, we have Joe Hendry still taking shots at Logan Paul in the Vision. So we get Hendry versus Theory tonight. You know, Paul Heyman, so he doesn't want Logan Paul to fight. He's going to kill him. So he wants to, you know, just make him suffer and doesn't want him to get in trouble. And I just love Joe Hendry continuing taking the shots at Logan Paul. It's just brilliant. I just think Hendry built a lot of momentum in this against Theory. Like he really showed out. He's a perfect example of that lovable comedy side, but then mixing with the intensity as well. So it's not too cheesy, not too silly. I think he's got the perfect balance there. But yeah, they had a great match. Didn't see a winner because Logan Paul interfered in the end because he just couldn't contain his rage anymore. We had the eventual beatdown after the match with Logan Paul and Austin Theory. Then Street Profits came out, which again, they're having their problem with the division as well. What was nice is that then Bron Breakker comes out to kind of make the save for his team, which I thought was fantastic. I thought it was going to be another Profits beatdown, and then that's it. They're riding high. Bron Breakker comes out, and then Rollins comes out, and just all hell breaks loose. Like it's fantastic. He gets distracted by Montez Ford leaping over him and taking out half the people in the ring, outside, sorry. And then because of that distraction, Bron Breakker ends up getting spear and is the one still standing tall. Like I love that it's not just Seth on top; it's Bron is really getting that momentum. Again, I don't know if that means he's going to lose on a Backlash, but yeah, he's in such a sweet spot at the minute, and yeah, he's going to fly absolutely. So next we get the Oba Open Challenge. Kira Tozawa comes out and attempts to take up the challenge, but then quickly goes, "Oh, I'm out." And then Otis steps in, which again got a huge pop. I always love Otis. I think they've done him dirty a few times by not capitalizing on a few of his big moments, which he could have had. Chad Gable being the most recent one. But no, they put on like real two big meaty men slapping meat, bumping meat. And it was, yeah, fantastic match. Again, I liked how Oba handled himself in this match. He didn't try and he kept showing the crowd what he was doing. It's like, there's no way I can pick this guy up. Oh, hold on, I've got an idea. I'm going to put him up there. Like, he's showing his intelligence in that he doesn't do the whole, sometimes it'd be quite hokey wrestling thing where they're just like, oh, I'm struggling to get him up. So obviously you're not going to pick him up. So Obi uses his brains. For me, added another element to his, how awesome he is. He's not just this beast. He's clever. He knows what he's doing. He's not going to fall for the same traps as everybody else does. My only thing with it is, where is it going? I presume someone will come out that will then create a feud with him. I don't want to wait too long for Oba to get to the heavyweight title picture. Considering what he's done, he should be, he shouldn't be starting at the bottom. He should be way up here. And these open challenges things feel kind of mid. And it's just, are we just waiting till after Backlash for him to do something more? Maybe. But yeah, he deserves to be like way higher up. We've got a nice pre-recorded kind of backstage interview with Asuka and Io, kind of having a one-to-one, just explaining that there's years of history that have led to this. Their match at Backlash, they should get a minimum of 20 to 25 minutes because they could have match of the year easily. In their sleep, these two could have it. And I really hope they let them have that time. I hope it's not just this quick 10-minute thing. They need time because they are both capable of just putting on like phenomenal matches. I hope it's something. I hope if it's not that, I hope then Kyrie at least comes back for her redemption, and then if she leaves, she leaves. I hope that. I don't know if that's what happened. Maybe that's just wishful thinking. I think that's what we all want, though, is to kind of have a full stop on this and let, in particular, the pop Kyrie would get if she came out as well and helped Io win would be amazing. But yeah, the promo itself was good. The only thing that baffled me, and Io should know this, she got right in Asuka's face, and Asuka likes to spit at people. She likes to spit in people's faces, Io. So why would you get this close to her? Doesn't make sense. Come on. The next match of the night was OG El Grande versus I don't know if we just call him El Grande, Ludwig Grande and Chad Grande, and their teams. I know this is really over in AAA. I don't think that's quite translated to WWE side. What I think the mask versus mask thing would be great, and it was always leading to that. I would have liked it to happen at Mania, WrestleMania, sorry, not AAA Mania. I think it would have been nice there because I think if the momentum had built, it would have worked well. Again, trying to stay positive, but my gripe with it is you've got 6 incredible athletes. You've got 2 great established tag teams in Dunn and Bate, and then the Creed brothers. Chad Gable and Ludwig are outstanding technical wrestlers who could, if the dynamic of wrestling was shifted so Roman's got the title now, but that should be the wrestling title. So this is why I don't like that Roman has it. One of them could be in that spot if they were built up enough, easily. There's been times where Chad Gable has been on the cusp and not quite got it. What's the plan after this? I don't want to see, and again, I'll come to the tag team division in a minute, but they all could be doing so much more. They could all be putting on banger matches. There could be more to develop them. So I'm hoping after this, that's what will happen. Because I don't know what's going to happen. Is whoever's unmasked, are they not going to be involved in that anymore in the AAA stuff? Whoever keeps his mask, are they going to continue with that gimmick, and for how long? Like the Creed should be fighting the Street Profits. They should be fighting the Usos in just incredible tag matches. So should Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, or they should be off on their own. Tyler Bate was this, billed as this future star, and he's kind of not. Yeah, there's been injuries, but nothing's really come of it, and he's got all the tools. It's just, yeah, it's maddening to see. The main event of the night was the Fatu Roman contract signing for Backlash. Fatu comes out again saying, he needs to look after his own. Roman goes off about the Samoan death grip, like the Tongan death grip, sorry, like, how, that's for emergencies only. How dare you use it on me? But as well, I quite like this bit. He kind of says, you're looking out for like 7 kids. I'm looking out for 100, whatever. I'm carrying the whole weight of the tribe on my back. You're just looking out for you. Like, it's nice. And then, takes a shot at him saying that he's, in life they're equal, but in the ring, Jacob's beneath him, and it sets him off, and the two go at it. Which again works really well because it feeds into Jacob's insecurities and his want to be accepted and everything else. I think it worked perfectly. Um, and then Jacob Fatu comes out with, again, standing tall, which again traditionally, I don't think he'll lose to Roman. I'd be very surprised if he did. Um, sorry, I don't think he'll beat Roman. Roman I can see walking out. But yeah, they seem to be leaning into this death grip thing, which again is nice. I guess it's a nice kind of touch to it. I suppose your casual fan might not know what it is, but it's a nice addition to it outside of just the bloodline stuff. But yeah, I mean, overall, I thought Raw was okay. I thought it was good actually. There was a lot of moving parts there. Far better than SmackDown. I think that's been the case for a while. Perhaps that's why there's a lot of cross roster kind of jumping. I don't know, but yeah, I'm hoping this is that kind of post WrestleMania hangover lull. So you've got this big high of WrestleMania, now we have to go into Backlash. I'm hoping it's just that, but yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to Backlash. There's some good matches on there, but also looking forward to seeing kind of what happens after, and we start getting some more stories building towards SummerSlam. So that's SmackDown and Raw. Now, this is where I want to rant a little bit about what's happened recently. Like, I went off about the releases. I've said before that there's been times when there's been releases that have made no sense. Some of the most recent releases made absolutely no sense. Kairi Sane going in the middle of a feud. But it's not just that, it's people leaving. Like, Tommaso Ciampa left because he seemingly had enough and wasn't getting enough um, getting enough attention, getting put in positions where he should be. He ruled a lot of the NXT era, and he should have. That didn't translate to WWE, and I don't blame the talent for this because it's not them; it's the people that are writing for them and how they're being booked. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods have left WWE, which was just mental. That in itself is mad. I was convinced they would be there forever. I thought they would be there like R-Truth, like Randy Orton. They would just be there. They were lifers. And they've now decided to go because seemingly, and again, I have no idea, but from what I'm reading, is they were asked to basically change their contracts by TKO. And it obviously didn't sit well with them because how it wouldn't sit well with anyone. If you're doing something, performing to a level, and you have done for many years, and someone says, "Oh, actually, no, we think you're worth this now," it's a bit of a slap in the face, particularly for people that have been there for years and years and years. We also lost JC Mateo and Tongaloa. They've never done anything with those guys outside of just being the OFTs. Mateo, Jeff Cobb, I didn't know a lot about him, but I know he was worth much more than he was delivering, and he's more capable, and he wasn't getting that for some reason. I just don't understand. I have no idea if it's TKO. I'm going to go out and just say it is, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't work for the company. I don't know. All I read is the same thing everybody else reads and the dirt sheets and all that stuff. But it just feels like, particularly with some of the booking, like the decisions are being made so poorly, and it's all based around money. Despite having so much money, how can they just go in and start changing up contracts and all this stuff? It just seems absolutely mad. And it just feels like the push on the celebrity side, on the lack of storytelling, the changing of storytelling, the lack of consistency, letting people go in midway through stories. Like, it's just hard, very difficult to be positive at this time. Really, really tricky. WrestleMania as a whole was okay. Night 2 was better, but there was a lot of stuff in there, all this Pat McAfee stuff and Jelly Roll and all this. Like, where are these decisions coming from? Like, how much pull does Triple H have? It just feels like very disjointed at the minute. It feels like somebody hates the tag division for some reason, on both sides, the men's and women's. Like, the New Day, the most prominent tag team ever, they could be used for. They don't need to carry on and being these top tag team stars, but they can be utilized for getting other people over. That should be their job. I feel like that's the path of wrestlers as they take as they get older. They help others. But as I said earlier, you've got the Creeds that are doing this Mexican lucha thing, You got Tyler Bate and Dunn doing that. Tommaso Ciampa left, and there's no DIY anymore. The Motor Machine Guns have gone. The Wyatts have gone. MFT, there's people in there that have gone. You've got all of these great talent. Why is the tag team division not being utilized? It feels like they go, all right, we can focus on the women now, not the tag team, or we can focus on the tag team, but not the women, or we can focus on this, and then but something has to take a hit. That's why you have writers. That's why you have a creative team. I don't know how it's again. I'm speaking out of someone who's on the outside, and I don't know what it's like internally, and I'm sure there's a lot of frustrations internally. Like any job, you get pissed off with how the direction of things are going, but it baffles me that there's not people for everyone there. Why have this big of a roster if you're not going to use everyone? Why have these divisions if you're not going to utilize them? I don't get it. And it's very frustrating as a fan, particularly one who's trying to remain super positive all the time, to find that in things, in something that you love and you are really invested in, and just seeing it not working. Not how I want it to work, but how it should work. I'm not going to agree with everything. That's fine. But like I said, watching this most recent SmackDown, I felt like I was just kind of going through the motions just to watch, and there was nothing grabbing me really to want to watch it. Raw is a bit different, but yeah, it's missing the story. And again, I always go back to the story's missing, the wrestling itself is missing. It feels like there's barely any matches on at the minute. I don't know if it's a TKO thing. Perhaps TKO need to go. Maybe they could sell WB and I don't know, give the reins back to someone and the creative team that can actually know what to do with it. It's just tricky. And then you see it with things like John Cena is back again. So he retired. He was back at Mania as a host and do a very good hosting job, in my opinion. And he's back again for some sort of announcement. Like, is this his role now? Is he just going to come back and give announcements all the time? What's the announcement? Like, a new announcement. God, I can't speak. A new announcement is always exciting, but is it just going to be something that falls flat again because it's hyped up because it's John Cena and it's WWE? Like, I hope to God it's something of substance that's going to reignite us and stuff. But yeah, it's just really difficult to see people like the New Day and Kofi and Woods kind of go. For me, that's quite telling of the state of how things are with veterans like that who clearly love the business. Yeah, it's difficult. But we love the New Day. Thank God for the New Day. I'll always be fans of the New Day. But yeah, so we thank them for what they've done. But yeah, God, it's getting tough sometimes. And the last few weeks have been tricky, trying to remain positive on this, but I'm doing my best and I'm going to keep doing it. I am going to look forward to, though, although it's I focus on WWE, if the New Day go to AEW, oh my God, the matches they can have there in the tag team division, that tag team division AEW, wow. So yeah, at least that will be something to kind of look out for. Yeah, we will keep positive, we'll remain positive, and we'll carry on hoping that Backlash will kind of bring some new life to it, because they said there are some good matches on there. Just hope to God they give us Io Sky and Asuka for a length amount of time. But yeah, those are the shows. Backlash is coming. We'll do a Backlash review after as well. Again, hoping it'll be. I think it'll be a good show. But yeah, keep enjoying, keep watching, keep listening. We will try and remain positive, gang. And then until then, we'll see you next time.